All right, shalom, shalom. All right, this is why y'all are coming at you another lesson straight out of the Lions Den camp of Yashala. But before I get started with this lesson, I would like to give all praises to the Heavenly Father in the name of His only begotten Son in their proper true names. We're gonna start off by saying Ka, Halayim, La, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Ha, Rekah Kodash, Ma'amath. Definitely want to give double honors to the elder apostles of GMS. Definitely want to give double honors to my elder apostle, Ahar One, Ban Yashala, the Lions Den camp, located right here in Jacksonville, Florida. Shalom to the sincere men, women, and children that believe in sincerity and truth. Shalom to the Lions Den camp, to the rest of the elect that's out there. Shalom, shalom. All right, today's lesson is going to be dealing with going back into insurrection, right? More Lions Den news and prophecy. All right, as we know that Donald Trump has been using the Coast Guards, all right, using the military to in certain cities like Chicago, Portland. All right. But again, this is all coming from the Most High. All right. The Lord has given us warnings of major events that's to come. Right during this tribulation. All right. Insurrection is one of them. All right. So as we see, Trump going against, the Northern and Southern Kingdom, right? The Latinos, Native Americans, and the Negroes, all right, who are the true Israelites of the Scriptures. All right. We have to have that understanding that the Lord is with us, man. All right. That the Lord says He's going to be with us. He's going to strengthen us in these times. All right. All right. The ones that's part of His elect. All right. The 144,000 men that's going to be part of His governing body when He returns, as well as 1/3. All right. Men, women, and children. All right. Also will be lifted up in that day. All right. So as we go through these tribulation, we have to have the mindset and understanding that the Lord is with us, man. All right. That the Lord is going to, He promised us to give us spiritual powers to be able to withstand and the wiles of the devil. Right. He was going to give us a sound mind and be with us right in these times. All right, this is from NBC News. It says Trump keeps threatening. All right, he keeps threatening to use the Insurrection Act. What is it? All right, it says President Donald Trump has said repeatedly he could invoke the 1807 statute, which gives the president the power to deploy the U.S. military domestically. All right, this was written on October 7th, all right, a couple of days ago. All right, it says President Donald Trump suggested numerous times this week that he could invoke the sweeping presidential powers granted by the Insurrection Act if necessary. It's been invoked before, Trump told reporters Tuesday, adding, quote, "We want safe cities." All right. It's crazy that he said he wants safe cities, but look how he's going about doing it. All right. It's been people it's been people in their homes, right, who are born and raised right here in America, being pushed out of their homes, being locked up, put in handcuffs, all right, taking certain places, being separated from their children, all right, and their children's being separated from their parents, all right, and it's people that are true citizens here, all right, and again, you already know who it's happening to. This ain't happening to the Idumeans, right? This is happening to the Israelites, the Negroes, or we'll say it like this: the so-called blacks and browns, all right, which are the Negroes and Latinos, all right, as well as the Native Americans. All right, but that's it's been reports about hate people that's Haitian that was born here but have Haitian blood ties or bloodlines are being shipped back to Hades. All right, so you just have to have that mindset, man, that the Lord is going to keep you safe. If you're part of the elect, you part of that number. All right, he's gonna keep you safe, man. He's gonna protect you. All right, he's not gonna allow you to be anywhere you're not supposed to be, for one, and he's not gonna allow you to be overtaken, all right, and destroyed. All right, if your name is in that book of life, man. All right, he's gonna strengthen you in that in during these times, man. All right, we are enduring. This is the tribulation. It has kicked up. All right. We have to understand. We've been doing videos about the uprising of the people, uproars of the people, insurrection. We've been doing videos about all of this stuff, man. Trying to help our people build their mindset up, right? To understand that don't move in haste when trouble is abroad. You know, Depend on the Lord, lean on the Lord, allow Yahweh Bahashim Yahushua to guide thee and to strengthen thee. All right, back at the article, it says using the Insurrection Act was something Trump repeatedly suggested he might do in his first term, although he never actually did. A spokeswoman from the White House, Abigail Jackson, said in a statement Tuesday that the president has, quote, exercised his lawful authority to protect federal officers and assets. President Trump will not turn a blind eye to the lawless plaguing American cities, end quote. All right. Here's a look at what the Insurrection Act is and what it would enable the president to do. All right. What is the Insurrection Act? While the military is generally barred from being deployed for domestic law enforcement without congressional authorization, right? The Insurrection Act gives the president power to deploy the U.S. military domestically and to federalize National Guard troops during specific circumstances, all right? And all this is to make the city safer. It's crazy, man. But it's innocent people that's being drug into this. Even I just did a video on how the law enforcement in these cities are being attacked by ICE as well. All right, being maced and But again, all this is going to lead up to a huge riot, man, and uproars of the people and chaos in the streets, man. All right. It says. Right. So this act was signed into law by President Thomas Jefferson back in March 1807. It says, has it ever been used before? Many times, but not in decades. George Washington used an earlier version of the law to stamp out the Whiskey Rebellion in 1792. President George H.W. Bush was the last to use it during the deadly 1992 Los Angeles riots following a request from a city domestic mayor and the state's Republican governor. It says, what can trigger the use of the Insurrection Act? While one justification for invoking the act is clear, that the president can take action if asked to do so by governor or legislator, which this wasn't the case. All right, it says the other standards mentioned in the statute are broad and vague, giving the president wide latitude. Right. Whenever the president considers the unlawful obstruction combination or assemblages or rebellion against the authority of the United States, make it impracticable, impracticable to enforce the laws of the United States in any state by the ordinary course of judicial proceedings. All right. Let me read that part again. It says, whenever the president considers the unlawful, right, obstructions, combinations, or assemblages or rebellion against the authority of the United States, right? Well, right, he can't justify none of this, man. Even the mayors been coming out saying that their crime has been lower than it has than usual throughout the years. And President Trump is ignoring all that. He still sending the troops into these cities, disregarding what the mayor is statistics, and disregarding you know their authority. Really, basically saying these mayors been saying like, we don't need this. Our city doesn't need this right now. We're not in bad case. But again, this is all coming from Yahweh. Bahashim Yahushua, the Lord is hardening the heart of Trump, man. All right. But it says, right, against the authority of the United States, making it impracticable. I hate saying that word. To enforce the laws of the United States in any state by the ordinary course of judicial proceedings, he may call into federal service such of the militia of any state, and use such of the armed forces as he considers necessary to enforce those laws or to suppress the rebellion. The statute reads, right. So that's even dealing with the MOTB when they enforce that, right. I was just reading an article. I'm probably gonna have to get on that later on this week about China is pretty much went full digital. All right, but that's what all these things are leading up to, right? The insurrection, the MOTB, right? All this is part of the tribulation, man. right? And an MOTB, which would be digital, something physically implanted into you, right? Without it, you won't be able to go to any other cities. You won't be able to travel. You won't be able to go into grocery stores and eat. All this is part of that NWO, right? To make so where they can keep tabs on you, basically everything you buy, everything about you. All that stuff is going to be in that MOTB. Your medical records, your social, your bank accounts. It's going. You pretty much going to be GPS. You're gonna be tracked by GPS and everything. They're gonna know where you at all times. You know, it's crazy, man. What's in the mist, man? You know, um, you know, they want to say this is the land of the free, but it's not. They every country is going through this right now. Digital currency, a digital ID, where they can keep tabs on you on everything you do. All right. This is where it's going to, and this is why the Lord said, Revelation 13:16. Um, you know, if you, as a matter of fact, let's just grab it. Let's go to Revelation 13:16 real quick, and then we're gonna jump into some more precepts based off of the lesson. All right. You know how the Spirit of the Lord works; it jumps on you and makes you grab certain precepts from time to time. All right. This was not part of the lesson, but it's a very important part of prophecy. This is Revelation 13 and 16, and it reads, all right, Revelation 13 and 13, right? It says, and he doeth great wonders, so that he make a fire come down from heaven. So I'm just jump right down to the point, because if I read from there, it's gonna make me jump up more. So I'm just jump right down to the point. Revelation 13 and 16. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in the right hand, or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here's the wisdom. See, here's the wisdom. Right, and that's the point. The reason why I want to grab it. Here's the wisdom. Right, so without having this understanding, you're gonna fall victim to this, man. All right. Because he calls of all, right, to receive the mark. And without that wisdom, you're gonna end up taking it. All right. Verse 18, here's the wisdom. Let him that have understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of man, and the number is 600, 666, 666. All right. But again, so without it, you're not, this is what all of this is leading up to, right? This digital currency, this digital ID, the MOTB, right? The uprising of the people, uprose of the people, the insurrection, right? The people going against the government, right? Chaos in the streets, shutdowns. All of this is boiling up to, and they put movies out showing this stuff, man. The devil always got to show his hand, right? But real quick, Revelations 13:11. And I beheld another beast coming out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon, and he exercised all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, right? Whose deadly wound was healed, right? This is the Roman Empire, right? But that was revised, right? That deadly wound that was healed, right? And they dealing with NATO, America, and the EU, and they have gone around basically conquering everything, destroying everything. All right, and within that, they're going to be pushing this MOTB, right, to basically put, that's just part of their system, right? To Without it, you're not going to be able to enter into their cities. You're not going to be able to buy or sell, right? This is complete control, right, from a system that was set up by the original Romans, right? That mindset of and that spirit of the original Romans that's still here today, that's on the Edomites today, right? America, NATO, and the EU still pushing that agenda of the MWO, to have one religion and have one digital currency, and to keep tabs on everybody, and to have complete control over the world. All right, that's their goal. All right, but let's get on back to the lesson, man. All right, this Isaiah 41, because we was going to insurrection, right? All right, it's this second Edge 16, real quick, in verse 70. For there shall be in every place, right, and in the next cities, a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord, right? So this great insurrection is happening right now, right? And it's not just going to stay in Chicago, right? It's moving to Portland, right? It's going to hit other cities, and to pretty much where it's going to be almost in every city at some point, right? Um, this is just a precursor to the main event that's coming. All right. This is Isaiah 41:8, right? Because this is stuff we have to know, man. At the end of the day, that the Lord said, it was going to be tribulation in the end days, right? And during this tribulation, it's going to be insurrection. It's going to be uproars of the people. There's going to be sedition among men, right? The MOTB is going to be pushed, right? So, with all that being in your mind, you have to understand the Lord is going to be with you through all these things, that He's going to continue to strengthen you and raise you up in those days to keep you um, from being destroyed. All right, this is Isaiah 41:8, and it reads, But thou, Israel, art my servant. See, we are the Lord's servant. This is for the Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, and the speckled bird, right? The Seminole Indian and the speckled bird. All right. This message is for y'all, all right? Because we are Jacob and Israel, all right? The northern and southern kingdom, or Judah and Israel, all right? The northern and southern kingdom, right? We are the children of Jacob, right? The 12 tribes. We are the Israelites, all right? It says, verse 8, But thou, Israel, art my servant, right? We are the Lord's servant. Jacob, whom I have chosen. See, the Lord has chosen us, right? So, with that, with having that understanding that the Lord has chosen the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, right? We have to understand that everything that we go through, the Lord is going to pull us through it, all right? Because He chose us, right? It's not like we chose Him. We're very thankful that He chose us, because He could have chose the heathens, man. All right, but He chose us, right? The prophecy was for the younger to serve, for the old elder to serve the younger, dealing with the prophecy of Jacob and Esau, right? This is why Jacob held first the heel of Esau, right? Because there was two great nations in her womb, right? So when they was born, Esau was born first, but Jacob held first the heel of Esau, which shows you, all right, how fast the turnaround is going to be from Esau being the head and us being the tail, to us being the head and Esau being the tail. All right. The transition of that is going to be pretty much as they're falling, we are coming up. All right, we're being lifted up. You must know these things, man. I understand that we have been chosen, right? Because we are of the seed of Abraham, as what, just like our big brother, our King Yahushua. All right, verse 8, But thou, Israel, art my servant, Jacob, whom I have chosen, the seed of Abraham, my friend, thou whom I have taken from the ends of the earth, and called thee from the chief men thereof, and said unto thee, Thou art my servant. I have chosen thee, and not cast thee away. See, the Lord has not cast us away, man. He has chosen us, right? Out of all the people of the earth. It says, fear thou not. Verse 10, For I am with thee. See, you got to have that understanding, not to be fearful in these times, right? Because the Lord is with us. Be not dismayed, for I am thy power, thy God. I will strengthen thee. See, the Lord said He will strengthen thee, right? For what? Right? Strengthen thee through this insurrection, right? Through the MOTB, through days of hunger, through days of being persecuted, being pursued, um, being judged by the heathen. All right, it says, Fear thou not, for I am with thee. Be not dismayed, for I am thy power. I will strengthen thee. Yea, I will help thee. I will uphold thee with thy right hand of my righteousness. See, meaning that's basically saying that He's going to uphold us with Yahweh Shai. He's going to allow Yahweh Shai to be that covering unto us, man. All right, to be with us, to be to be our King, to guide us, to strengthen us. All right. As well as the rest of the angels that's up under Yahweh Shai, right? Basically, keeping an eye out over us, man. Verse 11 said, Behold, all they that were incensed, right, incensed against thee shall be ashamed and confounded. See, they will be confounded and ashamed, man. All right. We just have the understanding to stay diligent, endure it to the end, stay faithful, right? Make not haste in the time of trouble. All right, I will uphold thee with the right hand of my righteousness. Behold, all they that were incensed against thee shall be ashamed and confounded. They shall be as nothing, and they that strive with thee shall perish. Right? Thou shalt seek them and shalt not find them, even them that contend with thee. They that war against thee shall be as nothing and as a thing of naught. So, right. So when they try to come into your house, rushing in as a flood, the Lord said, what? Right? He's going to strengthen us, man. The Lord is going to be with us, right? For us not to be fearful, right? For all our brothers, the Chicago camp, that's, GMS, for all our other brothers that's out there in Chicago that's sincere, that's part of the elect, and sisters and children, out there in Portland as well. And any other city that this is, that is coming to. All right. We have to have to understand the Lord is with us, man. The Lord looks at these other people as nothing. Even though he's using Trump to do this, he still sees them as nothing, right? And all this is to show his power, man. All right. It says, right, verse 13, Salaki, for I, the Lord Yahweh, thy power, will hold thy right hand, saying unto thee, fear not, I will help thee. Fear not, thy worm Jacob, and ye men of Israel, I will help thee. Because the Lord knows we need his help, right? He looks at us as, yes, as his woman, right? But as well as a worm, right? Meaning that we're helpless, right? The Lord knows we're helpless and we're feeble, right? And we are weak in these times. That without him there is no escaping. Right? Without him there is escaping the wrath of the wicked. Right? There is no escaping without him, man. All right. And this is why we are in this state of weakness, right? That worm state, right? Because the Lord wanted to show his strength and show his power, that I am with you, and through you I will show the world, right, of who he is. All right. Let's grab that in a second. It says, fear not, thy worm Jacob, and ye men of Israel, I will help thee, saith the Lord Yahweh, and thy Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel. Behold, I will make thee a new sharp threshing instrument. Right? See, Yahweh, right? But Hashem Yahweh Shah said he will make thee a new sharp threshing instrument. And Yahweh wrought the Psalm part of that number, having teeth. Thou shalt thresh the mountains and beat them small, and shalt make the hills as chaff. See, we have to understand the Lord said he's going to make us, right? He's going to strengthen us, right? He's gonna be with us. But he said he will make us a threshing instrument. All right. So have that understanding. The Lord's gonna give you strength in that day, power in that day. All right. I'm gonna come back. We're gonna come back and grab verse 16. All right. But for now, let's go to Psalms 18 and move this down a little bit. Psalms 18 and 1 and 30, Salakim. As for God, right, Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai, his way is perfect. The word of the Lord is tried, right? So Yahushai has been tried, man. He has went through it all for us, right? He is a buckler to all those that trust in him. So long as you trust into Yahushai, right? Yahweh, the Most High, and his only begotten Son, Yahushua, right? Yahushua will be that buckler to us, man. Be that shield unto us, right? Giving us power, giving us strength, right? It says, verse 31, for who is God, save the Lord, right? So, for who is power, save the Lord Yahweh, or who is a rock, save our power, which is Yahushua. It is our power that girdeth me with strength, right? So it is Yahweh, right? Bahashim Yahushua, that girdeth me with strength. It says, and maketh my way perfect. He maketh my feet like hinds feet, and setteth me upon my high places. He teacheth my hands to war, so that a bow of steel is broken by my arms, man. You know how strong you gotta be to break iron, break steel with your arms, man. you know. But that's the strength the Lord is going to give us in these days, man. When it's time, He will bless us in His spirit of truth, man, and bless us with those spiritual powers to be able to withstand the devil, man. When they try to come in rushing in like a flood, right? He's going to lift us up and give us that strength, that power to overtake the heathen, right? It says, verse 35, thou hast also given me the shield of thy salvation, and thy right hand, Yahweh, have holden me up, and thy gentleness have made me great. Thou hast enlarged my steps under me, that my feet did not slip. And that's the point, right? We have to have the understanding, right? The Lord strengthened our feet, man. So we are not going to be slipping, right? We're not going to fall short in that day. We're not going to slip and fall off, right? We're going to stay diligent. We're going to stay firm on the Lord's word, right? We're going to stay firm in the faith and have the understanding, right? We can't, have the understanding like Peter had to learn, right? When the Lord told him to come out on the water, right? As soon as you take your eye off the Lord, as soon as he took his eye off the Lord, he started sinking. And it's the same for us. As soon as we take our mindset off the Lord, our mind off the Lord, we will begin to fall and sink. All right. So while all of this is happening, keep your mind diligent and set on the Lord, right? To keep you strong and strengthened and quickened in that day, right? To be able, so he can guide you through all the said perils, right? Through the tribulations, right? Enlarging your footsteps, right? Keeping you from slipping. All right, let's go to right, Jeremiah 51. All right, and I'm gonna start at 19, but the point is really in 20. All right, it says this Jeremiah 51 and 19. The portion of Jacob is not like them, right? So when you read up, it's going into false idols and engraven images, right? But the portion of Jacob is not like them. What is our portion? The Most High is our portion. Everybody on the earth doesn't have that portion, right? He's our portion. He made a covenant with us, as we were just reading in the previous scriptures, right? He chosen us, right? So the Most High is our portion. That is not like anything else. Period. All right. It says, the portion of Jacob, the Most High, is not like them, right? Those false idols, meaning that our Lord, our Heavenly Father, actually is real. He exists, right? That's what His name mean, anyways. Yahweh, right? It says He is the former of all things. See, and Israel is the rod of His inheritance. What do you do with a rod, man? It says Israel, right? The Negro, Latinos, Native Americans, right? The Seminole Indians and the speckled bird, right? It says Israel is the rod of his inheritance, right? When you spare the rod, you spoil the child, right? What is the rod, right? It says the Lord, right? Yahweh of hosts is his name, right? Because he's our portion, right? But what do you do with a rod, right? But because it says, and Israel is the rod of his inheritance. This is what you do with the rod. Verse 20. Thou art my battle axe and weapons of war. For with thee will I break in pieces the nations, and with thee will I destroy kingdoms. Right? He didn't say, right? He said, with thee, with us, he's going to destroy the nation. He's going to break this system down with us, using us. Right? So have that mindset, understanding, right? That the Lord is, if the Lord is going to be using us to take down this kingdom, man, right? As well as Himself and the rest of the angels, you know, taking down the kingdom, right? But we're part of His army, man, right? We are His battle axe and weapons of war. So during the time of tribulation, the Lord is going to lift us up, man, and give us spiritual powers, man, right? And allow us to stand strong against the devil in that day, right? So all this stuff that's going on in Chicago, all the people getting kicked out of their homes and being, persecuted and being, you know, and basically being separated from their children and family members and being imprisoned and losing everything that they have, right? Even for them, even have to be bothered, and some of them people did, was released. If you've been paying attention and keeping up, some of them people did get released, but they was in handcuffs for hours. You shouldn't even have to go through that, man, if you're a tax-paying citizen, you know, born right here in America. But again, this is all coming from the Most High. All right. Nothing happens without His approval, and the Lord is controlling the hearts of the kings. All right, but the Lord said He was going to use us to take down this system, man. So it's nothing to be afraid of. He said he's going to be with us. He's going to be with thee, and he's going to strengthen us because we are his battle axe. And he's going to use us, right? Verse 20, for with thee will I break in pieces the nations. See, with us. And with thee will I destroy the kingdoms. And with thee will I break in pieces the horse and his rider. And with thee will I break in pieces the chariot and his rider. With thee also will I break in pieces man and woman. And with thee will I break in pieces the old and young. And with thee will I break in pieces the young man and the maid. I will also break in pieces with thee the shepherd and his flock. And with thee will I break in pieces the husbandman and his yoke of oxen. And with thee will I break in pieces captains and rulers. And with thee, and I will render unto Babylon. I got carried away. It's verse 24, and I will render unto Babylon and to all the inhabitants of the Chaldeans. Right, this is talking about this place right here, right? All their evil that they have done in Zion in your sights, saith the Lord Yahweh. Behold, I am against thee, O destroying mountain, right? Saith the Lord Yahweh, right? This destroying mountain, Babylon, America. Right, saith the Lord Yahweh, which destroys all the earth. And I will stretch out my hand upon thee and roll thee down from the rocks and will make thee a burnt mountain. Right? How he's gonna make this a burnt mountain? All right, when he sends those 200 million missiles or warheads to hit this place, man. All right, it says, and they shall not take of thee a stone for a corner, nor a stone for a foundation, but thou shalt be desolate forever, saith the Lord, right, Yahweh. And that's the judgment coming to this place, man, to be burnt. All right, we have to understand the Lord, just like he did in the times with the Pharaoh, right? The Lord is controlling the hearts of the king. This is Proverbs 21 and verse 1. The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord, right? So who controls it, right? The Most High, Yahweh. As the river of water, he turneth it whatsoever he will, right? So he's in control, right? Just like the time of Pharaoh, right? This is Exodus 14 and 4. And I will harden Pharaoh's heart. See, again, all of this stuff the Lord is doing, right? And it's all to show his strength in us, for one, and to show his power in him, right? That he has chosen a nation of people on this earth and that his name will not be polluted, all right? We have to understand that, all right? That basically, he knew who he chose and his name ain't going to be polluted, right? And his words will not return unto him void, right? And that he will show his strength, right, through us and through Yahweh Shai and the rest of the elect and the angels, right? But this is verse 4. It says out in Exodus 14, and I will harden Pharaoh's heart that he shall follow after them, and I will be honored upon Pharaoh and upon all his hosts, that the Egyptians may know that I am the Lord. And they did so, right? They knew, after they went through what they went through, they knew that's the Lord. The Lord is with them. The Most High is with him. But let's get this word, I will be honored, right? It says, and I will be honored upon Pharaoh. Let's get that word. All right. No, that's the wrong one. Damn. All right. Right. And I will be honored.
Strong's H3513. Kavad. Kavad.
All right.
Second entry. Kaved. Kaved.
All right. Outline of biblical usage, it says to be heavy. It says to be heavy, be weighted, weighty. All right. Be grievous, be hard. All right. Let's go down to the outline. Strong's definition. All right. It says a primitive root to be heavy, i.e., in a bad sense. All right. Burdensome, severe, dull, or in a good sense. Right. But of course, this was in a bad sense. Let's jump down a little bit. It says, right. It says, abounding with more grievously afflict, right? Boast, be chargeable, be dim, glorify, be made glorious, right? Here's one, right? It says, be grievous, harden, right? Be make heavy, be heavier, lay heavily, right? Bring to, come to, do, right? It says, be more laid, make self many, nobles prevail, promote to honor, be rich, right? Be, go, soar, to stop, all right? But it says, lay heavily. Dang. The Lord said he's going to lay heavy, right? He's going to be heavy on them, man, upon Pharaoh. And I will be heavy upon Pharaoh, right? And upon all his hosts, right? All this is to show his strength, man, all right? Because the Lord's name will not be polluted, all right? You can catch that throughout this whole chapter. Where is it at? But yeah, if you read this whole chapter, that's what the Lord is going into. Basically how the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart, just so he could show his strength, right? To show them that they have no power over the Lord's people, and they have no power against the Lord, man. All right, this is Isaiah 59:19. All right, and it reads, "So shall they fear the name of the Lord Yahweh from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun." All right, and we over here in the west, right? It says, "When the enemy shall come in like a flood," right? Because this is the whole point of the lesson, right? This is the whole entire point of the lesson, that the Lord said he's going to do what in the days of tribulation, right? He's going to lift us up, right? He's going to give us spiritual powers. He's going to strengthen us, right, to stand against the devil, right? In those days, the Lord said he has made us a battle axe and an instrument of war. All right, he's going to use us to break in pieces the nations, and use us to break in pieces these kingdoms. All right, but it says, verse 19, "So shall they fear the name of the Lord Yahweh from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun. When the enemy shall come in like a flood," right, which they're doing right now in Chicago and Portland, right, "the Spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against him," right, and we're that standard. Right? That is us being that battle axe of the Lord. We're that standard that's going to be lifted up, right, against him. All right. So once this thing starts hitting every city, and Trump pushes that act, the insurrection act, and they start coming to all the cities, right, and then the MOTB is being and digital currency and digital ID is being pushed. All right. Without it, you won't be able to go into any other city. You won't be able to buy anything, right? And insurrection will be among all people, where you won't be able to go into the next city, right? The Lord says he's going to do what? As soon as they come in, rushing in like a flood to destroy us, he's going to lift us up, right? He's going to lift up a standard against them, right? And what's that standard, right? Jeremiah 51, right? And 20, "Thou art my battle axe and weapons of war." See, who is he talking about? Israel, the Negro, Latinos, Native Americans, right? It says, "For with thee I will break in pieces the nation, and with thee will I destroy kingdoms, and with thee will I break in pieces the horses and his rider, and with thee will I break in pieces the chariot and his rider." See? So it's nothing to be afraid of, man. The Lord say he is, fear not, right? He is with us, right? Isaiah 41:10, "Fear thou not, for I am with thee. Be not dismayed, for I am thy power. I am thy God. I will strengthen thee. Yea, I will help thee. Yea, I will uphold thee with the right hand of my righteousness." Right? "Behold, all they that were incensed against thee, right, shall be ashamed and confounded. They shall be as nothing, and they that strive with thee shall perish. Thou shalt seek them and shalt not find them, even them that contend thee, right, contend thee with thee. They that war against thee shall be as nothing, and as a thing of naught. For I, the Lord, thy power, right, Yahweh, will hold thy right hand, saying unto thee, Fear not, I will help thee." Right? So we have to have the understanding, man. Right? The Lord said, what? Psalms 18:30, "As for power, right? As for God, His way is perfect, right? As the way of Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai, His way is perfect. The word of the Lord is tried. Yahweh Shai is tried. He is a buckler to all of those that trust in Him. And what's that buckler? Buckler goes into like a type of shield, right? That they used to have, right? It was the smallest shield, but that's what it was. All right, that so he's our shield, man, and that for all those that trust in him. For who is Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai, save the Lord, or who is he, or who is a rock, save our power, right? It is Yahweh Bahashim Yahushua that girdeth me with strength and maketh my way perfect. See, he's going to strengthen us and make our way perfect. He maketh my feet like hinds feet and setteth me upon my high places. He teacheth my hands to war so that a bow of steel is broken by my arms. All right. Thou hast also given me the shield of thy salvation, right? So this is for all the ones, man, that's gonna make it through that time, man. Lord willing, I'm part of that number, right? The Lord's gonna raise us up, man, give us spiritual powers, right, to be able to go against this devil, all right? I mean, it's just a beautiful thing, man. While we see this insurrection going on, right? Or should I say, as we see the insurrection prophecy being manifested and how Trump wants to enforce this insurrection act, right? Because once he enforces it, all right, it's not just going to stay in those two cities. It's going to pretty much hit every single city, all right? Because it's all just that same hatred they have against the Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, which are the Israelites. It's that same hatred, all right, that Cain had for Abel. That same hatred that Esau had for Jacob that has been passed down through all of his children, right? Through and 2/3 really. That's why they got to take part of that judgment. All right, but the Lord set them up to be against us, man. All right, this is Psalms 83:2. For lo, thy enemy make a tumult, right? And they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, "Come and let us cut them off from being a nation." See, that's the whole thing, man. They tried, but the Lord said they couldn't kill us, man. Right? They couldn't kill us all the way off, meaning like destroy Israel as a whole, right? They came against us, right? They was able to do all these things against us, but the Lord would not allow them to completely eradicate Israel, right? So again, we know that the Lord is working the hearts of the kings, right? And all of this is to end up showing that His power and showing that His word will be made true, and every other man a liar, right? Every man a liar, but His word will be true. Roughly paraphrasing, meaning that His prophecies will come to pass, and that He will. There is a tribulation that we're in right now, and He's going to raise us up to go against that devil and to show his strength in us. All right, that's what it's all about. All right, but it's that same perpetual hatred that they have always had for us, man. All right, trying to like 70 AD, trying to cut us off from being a people, right? Destroy us and right, and then search and basically hunt us down, right, through the west parts of Africa, and then put us into slavery, right? That same perpetual hatred they had then is still here today. All right, this is the reason why Trump is doing what he's doing. All right, this is that perpetual hatred. All right, it says, verse 4, they have said, "Come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of the Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent." See, all of them. All right, who is they? They are confederate against thee, the tabernacles of Edom. Who is Edom? All right, Trump and his people. All right, the so-called Caucasians. Right? And the Ishmaelites, who are they? Right? The so-called Arabs, right? Moab, Chinese, the Hagarenes, the Gabal, the Ammon, Japanese, the Amalek, right? So those are the two names I really was trying to grab out of this right now, which is Edom, all right, and the Ishmaelites, right? When you put their butts in there too, right? And when you say Ishmaelites, that's dealing with people over there in the Middle East, dealing with the state of Israel, right? A lot of them are Ishmaelites, and a lot of them are Edomites. All right. And it also says Amalek. Right. Who is Amalek? Amalek is the small hatters. Right. That's over there in the state of Israel. Right. Who does Amalek come through? Esau. Right. They are part of Edom as well. All right. But all of them have consulted against us, man. But we have to have to understand the Lord is with us. Fear not thy worm Jacob, for I am with thee. Right. So when they come in to try to rush in like a flood, the Lord is going to lift up a standard against them. Isaiah 59:19 again. So shall they fear the name of the Lord, right, from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against him. And the Redeemer shall come to Zion, and unto them that turn from transgression in Jacob, saith the Lord. As for me, see, for the ones who turn from transgression in Jacob, saith the Lord Yahweh. As for me, this is my covenant with them, saith the Lord Yahweh. See, this is the covenant he has made with us, that he was going to use us as a battle axe to lift us up, as to lift us up, right? Which is that standard against them, right? Because the Lord is going to be with us. It says, my spirit that is upon thee, and my words which I have put in thy mouth, shall not depart out of thy mouth, nor out of the mouth of thy seed, nor out of the mouth of thy seed, saith the Lord, from henceforth, forever and forever. Right? But just going into how the Lord is going to lift up, and once he lift us up, man, it's nothing to ever come up against us, man. All right. Let's go to uh Dang, I had one more. Yeah. That's what it was. I'm supposed to go back to Isaiah. Yeah, Isaiah 51. Yeah. All right, so back at Isaiah 51. Make sure I didn't miss nothing. Salaki, Isaiah 41. Okay, that's what I tried. That's what I'm trying to get back to. Isaiah 41 and 15. Behold, I will make thee a new sharp right? A threshing instrument having teeth. The Lord says he's going to make us a new sharp threshing instrument having teeth. Thou shalt thresh the mountains, right? These other governments, and beat them small, and shalt make the hills as chaff, right? What the Lord says he's going to do when he returns, he's going to burn up the chaff, man. Right? So we basically going to make them into chaff, and then the Lord's going to burn them up. Right? But here's the point. The reason why I want to go back to Isaiah 41:16 says, thou shalt fan them. Right? It's, get that word fan. All right? So we can get some understanding on this. Here's the Hebrew word for it.
Strong's H2219. Zara.
All right. It says to scatter. Outline of biblical usage: to scatter, fan, cast away, to winnow, right? To disperse, right? Compass, spread, be scattered, be dispersed. Strong's definition, it says primitive root, right? To toss about, right? To toss about. By implication, to diffuse. All right, that was the point I was getting to, though. To diffuse. All right. Let's go back to it. It says, thou shalt fan them, thou shalt diffuse them, and the wind shall carry them away, and the whirlwind shall scatter them. All right. So again, the Lord said he's going to lift us up as a standard, right? Which us would be diffusing them, and then the Lord's going to come in and burn them up, right? He's going to burn up the chaff, right? That's what that whirlwind goes into, that destroying wind, right? And the whirlwind, nuclear destruction, shall scatter them. And thou shalt rejoice in the Lord, and shalt glory in the Holy One of Israel. So we're gonna glory, we're gonna give praises to Yahweh, the Most High, and the Holy One of Israel, Yahweh Shai. All right, it says when the point. See, yeah, that's pretty much that was the point though I wanted to get to. To bring it all to a close, that the Lord said he was, that we're going to be the ones that fan them, right? Um, you know, and the Lord's going to burn them up as chaff afterwards, man. All right, so you know, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying, man. To those who need to be edifying too, because this message is not for everybody. This message is strictly for the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, and Seminole Indians and Speckled Bird, right, who are part of the elect. All right, if you're a Negro, Latino, Native American, all right, a Seminole Indian, but you're not part of the elect of Israel, you can be bloodline part of the elect, but you spiritually, your name is not written in the book of life. You will end up taking part into what the 2/3 have to go through. All right. In other words, you won't be covered in the day of tribulation. All right. For the 1/3 and 144,000, all right, we're gonna be the ones that's gonna be lifted up as a standard against them, and being that battle axe for the Lord. And the Lord says He's gonna use us to fan them, right? Um, and then He's gonna come in and burn them up as chaff, man. All right, so nothing to be afraid of if you're part of the elect. If you have faith and understanding in the Lord, um, we have that faith and understanding that the Lord is going to keep us protected, during these times. All right, if that when the Insurrection Act cranks up and it hits every city, all right, that the Lord is going to lift us up. As long as you don't take the MOTB and you stay diligent with the Lord and keep the Lord in your mind at all times, in your la'ab, right, at all times. All right. Being part, basically putting on the breastplate of salvation, right, putting on the armor of the elect as a whole. The Lord will, keep you covered in that time, man. All right. So again, just wanted to touch base on this lesson, touch base on this particular topic, insurrection, and how the Lord is going to keep us protected in that time, and to keep the faith, keep the understanding. All right. Lord willing, again, this lesson was edifying. Shalom and DTA.